Hi again, I'm Susie, and I did an entire kiln unload last night. I filmed it, but my microphone was muted. And I'm still figuring this microphone out. Did not realize that the red light meant mute. So it was like an hour of unload. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of go through some wins, some fails, what I would consider fails, and then because I have a market tomorrow morning, and so if I don't get this filmed now, then hopefully I sell stuff. I don't know how big that market. I think it's going to be a little bit of a small market, but anyway. So I have a few things that I want to show you, and hopefully this isn't an incredibly long kiln unload. Okay, so first I'll show you some of my students' stuff, and then I'll show you my things with the info boxes over here with what kind of clay, what glaze, and all that. So this is the same students, and what they did is this one was thrown on the wheel, and this one was just a slab built plate, and they kind of did like a tie-dye treatment with the Mako Stroke and Coat, and I see Grapple, Blue Yonder, Sun-Kissed, all just mixed in. And close up you can kind of see that tie-dye look in there. It's really cool. This is another student's work, and we actually did this one by making a slip cast. I have some slip cast molds, so we poured some slip that I have, but it was a little bit like too soft, so when we pulled it out of the mold, it just started kind of like falling under its own weight. So it's supposed to be a lot taller. It's supposed to be like this much taller. And so me and my student fixed it, and then he carved these details in to personalize it. And then this is glazed with Mako Shipwreck. I think he did a really, really good job with the coverage there, and he's going to be super excited about that. Another student's work, they made a little cute little ghostie with their trick-or-treat. These are all Mako Stroke and Coat. So this is Grapple, Cottontail, I believe Hot Tamale on the cheeks, and Tuxedo on all the black parts. If you watched my last kiln unload, my student who had slightly a lighter coating on this bowl, this is just a refire, and I didn't have any more Spectrum kimchi, which was the original glaze, so he did he just used Amico Honey Flux. Since I'm outdoors, there's like flies and mosquitoes. It's not fun. I mean, I love being out here, but I'd love to have it screened in one day. This is another student's work made on the pottery wheel. And I believe the outside is Croc Blue by Coyote. And I'm not super sure what the inside is, so I'll have to ask. And this is that same student's work Also on the wheel, B-Mix with Grog, and the glaze is Textured Kiwi by Spectrum. This is done on the wheel with B-Mix with Grog, and they glazed this to look like a little mushroom. Hot Tamale by Mako Stroke and Coat, and Cottontail by Stroke and Coat. This was a student's work, and she came in with an idea that she wanted to do a ribbon looking trinket dish, and I think she succeeded. And she used Mako Stroke and Coat Green Thumb and a little bit of the Stroke and Coat Sun-Kissed. And she did the same on this slab built bowl. We just rolled out a slab and tucked it into a bowl, and then she really liked the ruffle shape. And she wanted both to be glazed on the bottom, so we've got some stilt marks here that I'm gonna teach her how to wet sand. Okay, this is another student's work. It's B-Mix with Grog, and it is a pellet, paint pellet, that they made by just pressing a slab of clay onto a plastic paint pellet. So that was a really good idea. Okay. Okay, that's it for the student work. All right, now I have some refires to show you. If you watched my last kiln unload, this is one that I refired from that load because initially it was just microcerulean and I was not a fan. It looked a little bit boring. And so all I did was brush my flux on it. So it's a flux recipe that I made from Old Forge on glazy.org, and I really like it. Another refire is this SB Red by Laguna Clay, and I don't actually know what I put on there, but it doesn't look much different. I was trying to repair that area where it had originally been rose quartz and raspberry mist, and I didn't apply it thickly enough, and anyway, it did not repair, but I think it could make a really cute little plant pot. So I do like those colors. It was my application that kind of suffered. Another refire was this Witch's Brew organic pot, little vase, and I like it better before. I added a whole bunch of stuff. I added night moth and Laguna Roman purple and flux, and it ended up so dark because of that night moth. So yeah, night moth is just a dark glaze. And this is another refire. My last kiln unload, it was just the Laguna Lime Burst, which just ended up being like it was just orange peeled and pitted, and it was not great. And so I put micro cerulean on top. And I think that it's still pitted. Could be application, could also be the clay. This is my Laguna SB Red. But it's much better than before. So I'm happy. Another refire is this mug. I had originally dipped it in a glaze that I bought pre-made called Ivory, and it looked really terrible, so I ended up adding a whole bunch of stuff to it, and I think it ended up really lovely. Can't remember what exactly I added, so I will put it in the info box. But I do love how it turned out. I love it on that dark. That's a mix of SB Red and B3 Brown, both by Laguna. Okay, I think I'm done with the refires. So next is, this straw tumbler. And it started as Mako Stroke and Coats, just kind of applied generously with my finger. And then I dipped the whole thing in my Lynette's Opal dipping glaze. And that's what gives you that blush pink on the inside. I've tried it with Honey Flux, but Honey Flux gave this like stained, like brownish yellow coffee looking thing on the inside. So I decided Lynette's Opal or my own personal flux. I'll try that next time. This was just dipped in Lynette's Opal. This sippy cup is SB Red clay, and I painted this bottom half Amico seaweed ×3, and then the rest of it, this top half, I dipped in my floating blue dipping glaze, and then I also poured it inside here. And I love it. I love it on the red clay. It's so pretty. This ghosty is just B-Mix. It's so cute. I made it from a slab. I was just showing the kids, my students, what they could make, and maybe they could make a little ghosty luminary. And then I dipped it in my Lynette's Opal. And I just love that Lynette's Opal. I don't know if you can get a really good view of it. I seem to think that everything shows up better at night. So I might actually only do nighttime kiln unloads, which is crazy. But there that is. I don't know if it will. Anyway, that is, some people call them whisker savers. I'm going to a market that is more like whimsical, so I might call them fairy wing savers, but they're just little mini pots. And the outside is 2x Opal Luster by Mako, and the inside is 2x Fire Opal. I don't know if that's very visible. Okay. This one is on SB Red clay, and it is Spectrum Louisiana Bayou. And if I could marry a glaze, that is the glaze that I would marry. I just love Louisiana Bayou. I fell in love with it when Sally Roper on YouTube kept unloading beautiful piece after beautiful piece of, and every time it was Louisiana Bayou, and I just thought I have to buy it, and I finally did. This one is Coyote Firefly Garden. on SB red clay, and I just love all that variation. That's all just one glaze. It was brushed on ×3, and then also inside is different. Inside is my Old Forge floating clear glaze that I got off of glazy.org, and I love how it just turns that kind of opalescent blue on this dark clay. This is the same. It's my SB red with Coyote Firefly Garden. I tried that glaze on white stoneware and it was so boring. I was really sad. And then I did a test tile on red stoneware and I was blown away. I love it. And again, the inside is just my floating clear by Old Forge. Oh, there's a little gnat in there if you saw a spot. Oh, this one was much awaited. So this one I posted in my social media and I asked what color should I glaze it, and overwhelmingly was like a bright phosphorescent green. And so I did my best. I started with a base of Mako Stroke and Coat Leaping Lizards, and then I put, let's see, I know I did some Laguna Lime Burst on top. I did some of my own personal green glaze that I made. So you can see the green down here and then the lime burst. So it was kind of a variation. And then this was on black casting slip. I added 6% black mason stain to my casting slip. And then this is Sanbao white underglaze transfer. I had some fails. This one I would consider a fail because I don't like how these drips ended up looking. I'm also not a huge fan of rose quartz. I think I just have to find what it looks good with, paired with. But anyway, so this was rose quartz by Mako down here, and then fire opal by Coyote up here, and then fire opal all inside, which I really like. It's cute, it's soft. And then my I'm not super sure what glaze I used on the moth there. And then I messed up, I would say, because I don't like it. And I put Autumn Purple by Spectrum like as drips on the rim. And I thought that was going to mix in really nicely. And all of it is a fail to me. I'm not a fan. So I'm going to try to refire it. I might just dip it all in my Lynette's Opal. Sometimes I feel like Lynette's Opal saves everything. So I'm going to try that. This is another fail. Oh, I don't even know what happened there. I mean, I kind of do. So first of all, it's Be Mixed with Grog. I did Spectrum textured kiwi there and on the inside up to about here. And then I did my aqua calcite, my own homemade glaze, all in here brushed. And I had dots of my Old Forge flux. And I thought there would be some more movement or something, but what I should have had, what I'm learning, is I should sandwich. Anytime I have dots or W's or squiggles of flux, I should sandwich them. So I should have had a glaze on the bisque and then dots of flux and then another glaze. But instead I had just the bisque, dots of flux, and then my really light aqua calcite. So it did not play well, but there are parts that I really like. So I just have to kind of remember what I did there. I like this mixture here. So maybe next time what I'll do is I'll try layering textured kiwi, dots of flux, and then my aqua calcite on top. So I'm going to refire that one. It's still a good bowl. This one I'm going to refire too. So this was also that same black casting slip. I did a Laguna Roman purple. Sorry, I have a jumping spider on me. Okay, just had to help it to the table. So I had started with a base coat, one layer of Laguna Roman violet. And then I did 2 layers of Mako Night Moth. That's where I went wrong. It's just dark on dark. So I don't know if a lighter glaze on top will help, but I'm going to try to put this through a refire. And then this is blank here because I have a white gold overglaze decal that will go in a luster fire. That's a really low cone fire, low heat fire. And then in the inside is my Old Forge floating clear, which I do really like on dark clay bodies. So I might just paint that floating clear all over on top and see what happens. So you'll see if I do that, if it's successful. No, even if it's not, I'll show you. I did make these little, I made some press molds, and so I made these little bird skull. They're going to be earrings. The dark, like the black, is the Pasler Glaze Marker. And I was not a fan. This was my first time using it, and I could not wipe it off. So I had meant for it only to go in the crevices, and it just didn't, I don't know if you're going to be able to see. It just didn't get wiped off properly. And then I just dipped the whole thing in my dipping clear. So I'm just going to make little earrings. I might add things to them. So that's that. Hello, I'm just hopping on at the end of the video to show you a few bowls that I took out of the kiln that I didn't get a chance to show you before. So please bear with me. It's been some time, and so I don't remember everything offhand, so I'm going to be consulting my document here. And the first bowl that I want to show you, I think came out really cool, is this bowl. It is B-Mix, and isn't that so cool? I'll show you over here in the info box what I did. But this is B-Mix, Laguna B-Mix. I brushed on Spectrum Autumn Purple all over, inside and outside. And then I did 1 coat of Louisiana Bayou on just the top rim, like this top, inch and a half. And then I did do some dots of flux all the way around, and so I'll show you what it looked like glazed over, or before I glaze fired it over there. But that is that, and I know my brush application looks a little spotty, but that's how I like the Spectrum glazes. I probably could have done 1 more coat. I just wasn't sure how much that flux would drip, to be 100% honest, but I really like, I love stuff like this. I know that it's not for everybody, but I love it. Okay, so that is that bowl over there. And my next bowl is, let's see, which one is it? It's this one, which was a little bit of a shocker to me. This is on Laguna B3 Brown. That is the black clay body. Okay, so that's Laguna B3 Brown, and I did Louisiana Bayou by Spectrum ×2 all over. And then I did one coat of, you're not going to guess it, Spectrum Autumn Purple on the rim. And so it looks to have gone very green, like a mint green, when mixed with the Louisiana Bayou on the black clay, the B3 brown black clay. But I really love it. I love how it looks, and I love, I know I keep saying it, but I love finding glazes that look really striking on black clay, because I do love black clay. Okay, I will move this over there, and the next bowl I have to show you is this bowl here. It is B-Mix, and what I did is Louisiana Bayou by Spectrum all over, inside and outside. And then I did 2 coats of Amico seaweed on the rim. And I don't actually see that, and then it went a little gray on the inside there. So I don't know that that's something that I'm going to replicate. It's still, like I said, Louisiana Bayou happens to be one of my most favorite glazes. So I do love this bowl, but I just don't think that I don't like how it went gray on the inside there, and I'm not sure really what happened there. Okay, so my next bowl is this one, which surprised me a little bit. I was trying to do like the galaxy type that I've seen, where you put obsidian down and then you put swashes of, some people put smoky merlot. I didn't have smoky merlot, so I used what I had, and this is a B-Mix glaze, or sorry, B-Mix clay. And on, let's see, on the outside I did obsidian all over ×2. And then I did do Old Forge Flux on the rim. I did dots, so that's kind of those stripes that you see here. These are all, that's my Old Forge Flux. And then I did just swoops on the inside that you can see. And so I did a swoop of I did swoops around of Louisiana by, no, sorry. No, that's correct. I did swoops all around of Louisiana Bayou, and I think that's the blue ones that you see. I also did swoops all around of Amico seaweed, and I believe that's the green. And then I did swoops of Coyote Fire Opal, and I don't actually see, maybe these, this purpley, but it didn't come out exactly. I love it. I think it's beautiful, but it didn't come out exactly how I had envisioned it. And I really like this here, so that's the kind of thing I would try to replicate, kind of bring it down and do more over here. But I do see, yeah, not galaxy, but I see more like a Northern Lights type of thing So I see the possibility maybe of keeping some of it to look like a silhouette of mountains or pine trees, and then up here doing like this Northern Lights thing. So that's definitely, I wouldn't call that a fail, but the inside, I was rushing it for sure. But I do love how these stripes of flux look. Okay. And let's see, what else do I have? Is it this one? It's sometimes hard to tell which ones. I think this is. Okay, this one is also B-Mix. It's a little bit boring on the outside. I mean, I guess not boring. Dark. It's kind of got that same thing going on where it's a little bit Northern Lightsy. I was experimenting with the Northern Lights thing. So what I did here, this is a B-Mix white clay. I brushed Amico Obsidian all over, inside and outside. I did my flux, my Old Forge flux on the rim. And then I brushed Autumn Purple on the rim, ×1, Louisiana Bayou all over, ×1. And I have a note here that I put inside middle third and outside middle band. So I must have just done it right here, Louisiana Bayou. And the same, just the middle band on the inside. And then Seaweed, and the Seaweed I did on the bottom inside. So on the very bottom, that's where you see that Seaweed. Trying to get that, there you go. There. Sorry about the glare. Trying really hard. It's dark in my room right now because it's cloudy outside, so I'm usually used to having some ambient light. Okay, so there's that, and then on the outside is Amico Seaweed, and I wrote that I put another band just under the Louisiana Bayou. So there it is. Super cute. I do love it. Cute little bowl. Okay. So my next bowl is, you know, it's so funny because at first when I saw it and I took it out, I was a little bit disappointed. And now it's been a few days and I don't even know what I was so disappointed about. I just don't know if it was because it was nighttime or if it was because I wasn't expecting it. But so it is my Laguna SB Red clay, and that is the bowl. So maybe it's because it's just so white on the inside. I'm not super sure why I got disappointed. So I did do a band of Spectrum Sangria on the top half of the bowl on the inside. ×2. And then on the outside, I did rose quartz. I believe that's Mako. And I don't know what else I did. So I don't know what that is on the inside. On the inside center part there. So maybe that's why I'm disappointed. I mean, it's, and then the rose quartz goes really matte and kind of clear on red clay. So I believe where the rose quartz and the sangria met, that made these kind of drips. And I do like how that looks, but I'm still not sold on the rose quartz. I feel like it's just too matte, and especially on this SB red clay, it just looks dull. And then on the inside, I'm guessing, could it be pearl white? It's possible. Sorry, I can't remember, but to be honest, I don't think anybody's gonna wanna try to recreate that combo, so no big loss. All right, so, oh, it did not break. Let's see, I have 2 more bowls left. There is this one, that is B-Mix. And what I did is I did textured kiwi fruit by Spectrum, all on the outside, ×2. I did textured kiwi fruit on the inside ×1. Then I did Spectrum floating celadon on the inside ×1. And then I just kind of squirted like dots of flux all over on the inside. And to be honest, I didn't know what to expect. Now that I know, I'd apply it differently. I'd apply it maybe with a brush, a little bit more purposefully, but at the time I wasn't sure what it would do, so I was just experimenting, just really playing. But I love that textured kiwi fruit. And I was surprised that that kind of purple showed up in there. There's like that purple going on, and I don't know where that came from. I think it just must be something between the textured kiwi fruit and the floating celadon. I do find it really interesting right here where the flux hit, turns like almost like a highlighter yellow. There's another one right here. That's not glare, that's like actually yellow. So that's kind of cool. That's cool to know, more experimentation needed. Okay, last bowl, and it's interesting. Again, I'm not super sold on it, but it's a B-Mix clay, and I put flux on the inside in dots and W's with the squeeze bottle. And then I did textured kiwi fruit just on the bottom half of the inside, ×2. And then I did floating celadon ×2, all on the outside. So this is all just one glaze, just Spectrum floating celadon ×2. And then I also did it in the top half of the inside. And I did overlap them just a little bit. I feel like that is too stark a contrast for me. I'm not a big fan of that, so I think that I will do something different, but I still really like some things about it. Like I really like this area right here where it kind of flowed. So I would probably try layering the textured kiwi fruit and the floating celadon and my flux all together, instead of kind of separating it out into halves and top and bottom and stuff, just kind of all of it together, all. That's something I haven't really explored too much of, is like layering, for example, like with my rose quartz, instead of doing like 2 layers of rose quartz and then 2 layers of some other glaze directly on it, I'll do it just above it and they overlap a bit, and then I'm not happy with it, just like what I did here with the textured kiwi fruit down at the bottom, floating salad on its top. So yeah, next time I'm going to be exploring a lot more of just fully brushing all over and seeing what that does to my pieces. So that is that. I believe that was that of the kiln unload, and I didn't mean to end that previous section so abruptly, but to be 100% honest, I got really discouraged when I went to upload and edit my video from the night kiln unload, and my sound was completely off. Like there's no sound at all. And I just got a little bit disappointed. And then I thought, okay, well, I'll recreate it in the morning. And then I did what you saw before this section. I did it the next morning, and I was still a little bit disappointed. So I felt like I was a little bit dimmed. You know, I was just a little bit down in that video, and then I didn't even do all of them because I was just so overwhelmed with what I had unloaded and what I had shown and what I didn't show, and it was just a little bit stressful. And so I was just a little discouraged, and then I didn't realize this because I'm not very good at like keeping up with social media. I'm learning and I'm getting better, but my partner said, "Oh my gosh, you have comments on your video." And I said, "No, I don't." And he said, "Yeah, and you have a lot of views." And I said, "No, I don't." And he said, "Yeah, go check." And I did. And I had so many beautiful comments. Like I was so close to tears. I'm so close to tears right now because that just gave me like that little like, okay, you know, you had like an obstacle, pick yourself up, just keep going. So it really, all of your comments, if you're still here, just letting you know that all of your comments really inspired me to keep going. And I figured out the microphone, hopefully. I figured out the light situation. We'll see. I was also getting eaten alive by the mosquitoes out there, and there's flies landing on my face. And so I might just start to do this style of kiln unload where I'm not outside and I'm not battling the elements, but we also won't be listening to the wind chimes and the birds. So I'm not sure. I think it just kind of is going to depend on my mood. But for sure, I want to continue uploading, and I am going to open up my Etsy store and start posting my pieces for sale. I am also doing a lot of local markets, but I'm finding difficulty competing with brightly colored plastic junk. To be 100% honest, I feel like maybe I need to find the right markets to join, because the one I did that I actually paid to be part of, it was a bust for me. I'm sure, you know, it was lucrative for other people, but for me it was not great at all. And you know, we were stationed next to this, like, I don't even want to put other businesses down, but it feels like a lot of these tables were bulk buyers and sellers. Like you buy stuff bulk off of Temu and then sell it, or off of whatever bulk place you can buy this cheap stuff. And you know, so when people are seeing things go for $2 and $4, and then they come to my table and my mugs start at 30, because not only is there a lot of labor and experimentation and artistry that goes into it, there's also all the years of my life that I've put toward it. And And there's care and there's electricity and there's clay and shipping, and there's just like so much that goes into it. So I'm not going to put my mugs for $5. I probably would have sold them all out. But that's just not, I'd rather just keep them and keep making them and then end up being buried in a pile of my own mugs. Well, okay, so that is the end of this video. I appreciate you staying through kind of all my struggles, and I'm sure my next kiln unload will be so much better. I will have some more student work in there. I will have hopefully some of my work. I just purchased some Kentucky Mudworks brown bear clay, and I've never worked with that before, so I'm actually really excited. So yeah, stay tuned. Thank you so much for staying. Bye.